Most independent artists, songwriters, and producers think the secret to getting a major music publishing placement is just writing a perfect song in their bedroom and waiting for a publisher to magically discover it in an email. But the harsh reality is that the industry doesn't just buy your music, they buy into the vehicle delivering it. A great track with a powerhouse team and a frictionless business backend will get placed 10 times faster than a masterpiece riding on a lonely hard drive, or you just sending it one time. But by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to shift from a solo frustrated creative into a high volume placement machine that knows how to handle the pitch, command the room, and secure the contract. And that's what it's about. So let's talk about the volume game. Okay, this is how it's going to work for you. Now, in Music Publishing 101, I stated that the name of the game was multiple versions, but that's only true after the song gets placed or it comes out. However, in your shoes, the name of the game is to have high volume to pitch. Because if nothing's out, we need more songs. So if you're spending months perfecting 1 or 2 tracks, sending them to a couple random email addresses and hearing nothing, then you probably feel like your music isn't good enough, right? So you head back to the studio, you know what I'm saying? And you start tweaking that snare for another 3 weeks. Like, it's gotta be good, you know what I mean? But really, you have to realize that music publishing is a volume and probability game. You have to step up to the plate, creating opportunities to pitch and then get on base by securing placements as many times as humanly possible. That's the game from the creator's side. Making extra versions before a song is pitched increases your volume to a degree, but what is an alternate version if the record is whack? So you need more songs, you see what I'm saying? So if you don't do that, then you will remain a one lottery ticket creator. You're just betting on one record. You'll bet your entire emotional stability and financial future on a single song, growing bitter when it doesn't really get picked up and eventually quitting the business. It happens, right? You just like, I'll write today, tomorrow, and then you stop, right? But with volume, a single rejection won't faze you because you have 15 other songs in active pitch cycles. So you create an ecosystem where a win is mathematically inevitable because you simply have too many iron sheets in the fire. See what I'm saying? So it's a law of averages here. So you'll want to detach emotionally from your catalog and treat your songs like inventory. And I know this is objectifying, but you're going to have to do it if you want to play ball. Right? So commit to a production quota and produce and finish a set number of high quality tracks every month without actually overthinking, because if one song you pitch is good, then someone is always going to want to hear more. That's the name of the game. And if you luck up and get, a hit, then the sharks are going to come and then they will actually be hungry. So in addition to that, build a pitching pipeline. Ensure every completed song is actively sent out into the market. And this is when your disco.ac tool comes into play, but it also leads me into my next point. So stay real quick. Okay, check it out. If you think that this means that you have to sacrifice your artistic integrity and churn out soulless commercial garbage, well, all you have to do is look at hit makers like Max Martin or Jermaine Dupri. They treat the studio like a lab and a workplace. High output breeds mastery, not compromise. At the end of the day, a masterpiece sitting on a hard drive pays $0 in royalties. So what we're going to do is build a team, right? So we got to play team ball here. This is what I mean. Playing team ball is going to give you more opportunities, but we don't need any opportunity, right? We need good ones because they all have varying cost. So if isolation is creeping in when you try to act as a solo writer, producer, mixing engineer, manager, and song plugger all at once, you will run out of creative energy and hours in the day, leaving your music with zero motion. So the key is to do what most major publishers do, and it will be inevitable. But you're going to play team ball to drastically increase your chances of getting on base, aka a placement. And you will need to surround your music with co-producers, producers, co-writers, song pluggers, publishers, and sync agents. Every one of those people, besides a sync agent, better have one thing in common: direct access to the artist. The ability to be in the room with the artist is the most golden opportunity of all. And it is the most practical one in today's day and age because the publishers and labels can't keep up with the speed of creation. Message! It's just what it is. So if your team, including yourself, is not actively trying to get you in the room, well, then you will stay trapped in your own echo chamber. Understand, a producer is trying to get in the room. Co-writers are trying to get in the room. Song pluggers and publishers are trying to get you in the room. And you yourself are trying to get in the room. That's the whole point. We got to get in the room with the artist. If you do it right, your workload increases while your placements stack up. And when a co-writer or producer on your track wins, you win. So your music can be pitched in rooms you don't even know exist while you stay focused on what you do best. This is all about playing team ball. This is how it works. So build your team by priority, okay? Producers and co-writers have a reason to be in the room. Publishers and song pluggers don't really have a reason to be there, and they are looking for a record or your record or a hit track record to get them in the room, to give them purpose. And then you got to offer incentives to collaborators so everyone has skin in the game and a reason to help sell. Producers, co-writers, and publishers need a piece of the song in some way, and song pluggers need a piece of the sale. So don't be greedy here. And then you want to establish clear split agreements up front. Please do this. A lot of people don't, so that your team feels secure working with you. If everybody feels secure, people are going to be motivated to sell. And if you think nobody wants to collaborate with you right now, all you have to do is start by pitching your peers at your own level, not major label players, okay? Let's get the team going. Build your own home team from scratch, because 50% of a massive hit is worth infinitely more than 100% of a song that no one ever hears and it just sits on your hard drive. So far we've covered the necessity of building a massive volume pipeline to pitch and why playing team ball is the only way to get inside the room. But this next part is where most artists and their teams lose their placements entirely because they don't know how to close the deal. So stay with me. And side note, if you need a strong business foundation to run your record label on, grab my 60-day record label system to build a fully functioning record label with step-by-step instructions today to master the strategy I'm talking about right now. Now, closing the deal. Let's get to it, because a lot of us fail to do this. So, you know how getting a song into the room happens, right? You know, your co-writer or your publisher plays it for the major artist, and the artist says, yo, this is a smash. I want it for the album. And you celebrate, yeah, right? Then 3 months pass, the album drops, and then your song isn't on it. And you got cut from the track list at the 11th hour and you have no idea why. Maybe the song wasn't strong enough to make the cut because of a low cap on the album. Maybe the artist wanted to show favor to one of their homies, or maybe the label wanted a minimum amount of writers who are signed to their publishing company on the album. You never really know. But there are some things that you can do to combat this. Realize that getting a song heard is not the same as closing a placement. A&Rs and managers only push a record across the finish line if the artist deeply trusts the song and the business back end is completely frictionless, especially if you're not a hit writer, producer, or signed. If the artist doesn't fully understand why they are cutting and pasting a record that isn't theirs onto the project, or if your professionalism is poor, they will skip you for an easier target. Placements beget more placements, but only if you are built to close. You know what I mean? So if you don't establish that absolute business trust and operational speed, then you will become the creator who almost had a hit, and you'll spend years telling people at parties about the major placement that you used to have, while your hard drive becomes a graveyard of unreleased records because you couldn't close the deal on the back end. Period. It is what it is. Happened to me. If you do this right, you become the most reliable creator in the industry. A&Rs, managers, and artists will loop you in repeatedly because they know that your files are clean, your splits are signed, and you understand how to make the artist look like a genius. You build a reputation that turns a single placement into a 10-year career. And that's just what this is all about. So remove the administrative friction immediately. Never let an A&R wait for stems, clean mixes, metadata, or split arrange agreements. Okay? If they have to chase you for a signature, then they're probably going to drop your song for one that's ready to go if the artist doesn't fight for you, situation depending. Package the song for the artist's ego, so when pitching to get in the room, make sure the track makes sense for where that artist is going and not where they've been, so the A&R can easily convince them why this song belongs on their album, effectively turning the table on the artist, giving you a wingman. You know what I mean? And protect your upside without stalling the plate. Be firm on your publishing splits, but never let a legal disagreement hold up the final process of a major record. Just negotiate. Be calm and negotiate. Now, if you think you need a high-priced entertainment lawyer on retainer just to handle this back-end closing process, all you have to do is set up your baseline splits and asset delivery folders ahead of time using a clean digital system. Because sometimes lawyers cause more friction than you. And at the end of the day, the music industry is a business wrapped around a creative core. So if your business is broken, your pockets are going to remain empty as well. You see what I'm saying? So now, here's your challenge. Write down the names of the last 5 songs you completed and intended to pitch or already pitched. Then ask yourself, if an A&R calls my team tonight to clear a track, is my business backend and file organization clean enough to secure the deal in minutes? We want fast execution. And then go organize your metadata, clear your co-production splits on paper, and clean up your delivery pipelines today. Perfect your email pitch and make one physical connection this week. Talk to somebody. You know what I mean? The goal is to truly understand how to play the music publishing game effectively and the types of business infrastructure that is necessary to do it. The real question isn't should you do this, it's how much longer can you afford not to by sitting on the sidelines and letting those songs rot on the hard drive. Now, if you need help with devising a strategy, book a call with me or join our group strategy calls every Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time inside of the Music Money Makers community. You can click below to join right now today. But you might say, well, won't looking at my songs like pure inventory ruin my creative love for making music? Or why should I give away percentages of my song to co-writers or pluggers who aren't the main artists? And what if I clear my business back end, but the label still cuts my song because of executive politics? Listen, if you think treating your catalog like inventory kills your artistic soul, all you have to do is separate your creation time from your business time. Create with pure passion in the studio, but then put on your executive hat the moment the bounce finishes. You ain't gonna be creating 100% of the time. It is what it is. If you think giving up splits to collaborators shrinks your paycheck, all you gotta do is look at the numbers. You got 100% of a track sitting on a dead hard drive paying $0. Owning 25% or 50% of a song spending on a global radio station generates a real career. You know what I'm saying? And then at the same time, if you think that label politics will always defeat you anyway, all you have to do is look at how relationships scale. Even if you get cut from one album, a frictionless professional delivery leaves a permanent impression on the A&R. So they may call you back for the next project or another artist or opportunity because you were easy to work with. It's all about networking and maintaining relationships, you see? But if you were struggling with spending weeks tweaking one snare and pitching to silent dead email inboxes, or trying to run an entire publishing house completely solo until your creative tank runs dry, that was me, or getting right to the finish line of a placement only to get cut because your back end wasn't built to close, understand you now have the means to become the savvy, high volume, asset music ready entrepreneur you've always wanted to be. Music Money Makers, if you make music, you should always make money. Log on to musicmoneymakeover.com, grab the 60-day record label system, book a call, join the Music Money Makers community, grab the free stuff below, watch this next video right over here to save your career, and I'll see you next time. Peace.